I have a confession to make. About 20 years ago, I did something that I've come to regret. Not because it was wrong or harmful, but because it says something much deeper about how we think, how we learn, and how we're taught to make decisions. It's something I wouldn't normally talk about, but in the spirit of honesty, here it is. In a moment of youthful impulse, spurred on by the usual pressures and the illusion of prestige, I went to law school. Now, in America, law school isn't just a casual continuation of education. It's a full-on professional commitment. You do your undergrad, then you go to law school, often with dreams of big courtrooms and bigger paychecks. That was the path I thought I had to follow. It seemed safe, logical, smart. But what happened next was anything but ideal. I didn't exactly thrive there. In fact, to put it generously, I graduated with the portion of my class that made it possible for the top 10% to exist. I didn't practice law for a single day. Never took the bar. Never wanted to. So why bring this up now? Because today, despite that detour, I want to dust off whatever is left of those legal instincts and present. Not a story, but a case. A case based not on opinion but on facts. On research. On what science actually tells us about how people perform at their best. About what truly motivates us. So imagine this. You're in a small room. You're given a candle, a box of thumbtacks, and a book of matches. Your task is simple. Attach the candle to the wall in a way that the wax doesn't drip onto the table. What do? Many people try to tack the candle directly to the wall. Doesn't work. Others light the candle, melt the side a bit, and try to stick it. Still doesn't work. Eventually, most people figure it out. You take the thumbtacks out of the box. You use the box itself as a platform. You tack the box to the wall, put the candle inside it, and voila! No wax on the table. This is known as the candle problem. It was first developed in 1945 by a psychologist named Carl Duncker. It's a classic test of creativity and problem-solving, still taught today in behavioral science. Now, the key challenge here isn't intelligence. It's what Duncker called functional fixedness. You see the box only as a container for the tacks, not as a potential component of the solution. And once your brain is fixed in that function, it struggles to see the alternative. But here's where it gets really interesting. Years later, a researcher named Sam Glucksberg, now at Princeton, decided to add a twist. He wanted to test the effect of incentives. He split participants into two groups. To the first group he said, "I'm timing you to establish a baseline, just solve the puzzle as fast as you can." To the second group he offered rewards. If you're in the top 25%, you'll get $5. And if you're the fastest overall, you'll get $20. Now remember, this was a while ago. Adjusted for inflation, that's decent money for a quick task. So what happened? The incentivized group, those offered money, performed worse. On average, they took 3.5 minutes longer to solve the puzzle. Let that sink in. More money. Worse performance. It doesn't make sense, right? We're taught that incentives, bonuses, commissions, promotions, drive better results. That if you want people to perform, you give them a carrot. Or maybe a stick. But here, the carrot made people slower, less creative, more stuck. And this wasn't a fluke. The experiment has been replicated over and over again for decades. The conclusion is consistent. Extrinsic motivators, if you do this you'll get that, don't always work. In fact, in many situations they backfire. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. This is just one experiment. Maybe it's just that particular puzzle. Maybe they were tired. Or distracted. Or didn't care. Fair enough. But let's keep going. Because the implications of this go far beyond a candle on a wall. In fact, it gets to the heart of how we design work. How we run companies. How we lead teams. And maybe even how we live our lives. For the past several years, I've been obsessed with the science of motivation, especially the tension between external rewards and internal drive. What I found was astonishing. Not only is there a massive gap between what science knows and what business does, there's a danger in that gap. Because our systems, our policies, our management, our education, even our parenting, are built on assumptions that are outdated, unproven, and in many cases flat out wrong. We've built institutions for compliance, not creativity. For repetition, not innovation. For following rules, not breaking through them. But the world has changed. The economy has changed. The problems we face, whether it's how to build the next great product or how to tackle climate change, don't have clear instructions. They're messy, ambiguous, and they demand something more than carrots and sticks. They demand understanding, intrinsic motivation, purpose, autonomy, mastery. That's what this series is about. So if you've ever struggled to understand why your team isn't performing, why your students aren't learning, Why your own drive seems to fade despite the rewards. It's not your fault. You're playing in a system that rewards the wrong behaviors. But together we're going to explore what the research really says, what actually works, and how to build systems that bring out the best in people, not just make them compliant. So buckle in. Because what you're about to learn might just challenge everything you thought you knew about motivation, performance, and human potential. And if you're finding this valuable so far, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We've got a long road ahead, and I promise, it's going to change the way you see work, leadership, and maybe even life itself. Let's pick up where we left off, with the candle problem and the shocking truth that financial rewards can actually reduce performance on tasks that require even a hint of creative thinking. That's not a theory. That's a documented, replicated finding. And if that feels counterintuitive, that's because it runs directly against everything we've been taught about motivation. In business, in school, even in parenting, we operate under a shared assumption. If you want better results, offer a better reward. Want better grades? Promise cash for A's. Want your employees to work harder? Hand out bonuses. Want your sales team to perform? Throw in commission. It seems so obvious, so natural, so effective. But the science tells a very different story. Sam Glucksberg's experiment wasn't an isolated case. He ran another version of it with a slight tweak. This time he changed how the materials were presented. Instead of giving participants a box full of tacks, he gave them an empty box and the tacks separately. Same task, attach the candle to the wall so the wax doesn't drip. But now, the box's potential as a platform wasn't hidden by its role as a container. And guess what? Now the incentivized group, the ones offered money, performed better. They beat the baseline group. They were faster, more efficient. What does this tell us? When the solution is straightforward, when it doesn't require overcoming functional fixedness, rewards can help. They focus attention, narrow the field of view, push people toward the finish line. But when the task requires seeing something differently, when it demands creativity, lateral thinking, innovation, those same rewards can hurt. They make people focus so narrowly on the prize that they miss the path to get there. This idea, of rewards narrowing focus, is powerful. It explains why so many organizations struggle in the modern economy. Because the nature of work has changed. In the 20th century, a huge percentage of jobs were algorithmic. You followed a set of instructions, repeated a process, hit quotas, checked boxes. For that kind of work, external motivators, if then rewards, were enough. Sometimes even ideal. They pushed output, efficiency, compliance. But that's not the world we live in anymore. Today, across North America, Europe, Australia, and much of Asia, the workforce is increasingly engaged in what psychologists call heuristic tasks. These are jobs that require experimentation, problem-solving, and judgment. Jobs that don't have a clear rulebook. Where the path isn't laid out step by step, and where the value comes not from repetition, but from insight. Think about your own work. Are the problems you solve every day clearly defined? Do they have a single right answer? Are the rules obvious? If you're like most people, the answer is no. Your work likely involves ambiguity, uncertainty, creative leaps. And yet, despite this, we still try to motivate performance using tools designed for an industrial economy. Performance reviews, ranking systems, bonuses, and punishment. And the consequences are real. The data is clear. Those if-then rewards, if you hit your target, then you'll get a bonus, can and do backfire in modern work. They can diminish performance, crush creativity, undermine collaboration. And they lead people to focus not on what's meaningful, but on what's measurable. Let me give you another example. This time, from a totally different part of the world. Researchers wanted to know if culture played a role in how incentives impacted performance. Maybe the results in Princeton didn't apply everywhere. So they went to India, specifically to the city of Madurai, where the average income is much lower than in the US, and where financial rewards carry more weight. They ran the same kind of experiment. Gave participants a series of games that tested creativity, memory, and motor skills. They offered 3 levels of reward: small, medium, and large. If money was the ultimate motivator, then those with the biggest incentive should have performed best. But they didn't. In fact, the people offered the highest rewards did the worst. Across 8 out of 9 tasks, higher incentives led to worse outcomes. The performance dropped. Not just slightly, significantly. And here's the kicker: this wasn't run by some fringe academic with a radical agenda. The researchers were from MIT, the University of Chicago, and Carnegie Mellon. The study was funded by the U.S. Federal Reserve. That's right, the most conservative financial institution in America funded a study that proved large bonuses could reduce performance on cognitive tasks. And it doesn't stop there. The London School of Economics, a powerhouse in behavioral economics, reviewed 51 studies on pay-for-performance schemes in businesses. Their conclusion? We find that financial incentives can result in a negative impact on overall performance. Let that sink in. More money. Worse performance. Again and again. This isn't some left-leaning ideology. It's not anti-business. It's data. From the most respected institutions in the world. So why do we keep doing it? Why do we continue to use rewards and punishments, bonuses and performance rankings, as the primary levers to drive behavior in organizations? Because we're clinging to outdated assumptions. We believe people are like horses, pull harder and they'll run faster. But humans aren't horses. We're wired differently. We care about more than just rewards. We seek purpose, autonomy, growth, belonging, meaning. When those needs aren't met, no amount of cash will make us do our best work. Now, to be clear, this doesn't mean money doesn't matter. It does. People need to be paid fairly. Compensation should be enough to take the issue of money off the table. But once that's done, what truly drives high performance is something deeper. Something more human. And that's where we're going next. Because the gap between what science knows and what business does isn't just inconvenient. It's dangerous. It holds back innovation, stifles talent, and leaves billions in potential untapped. In the next section, we'll dive into the foundational concept that explains why this happens, and how we can fix it. It's not about doing more of the same. It's about rethinking the entire operating system of work. Let's step back for a moment and look at the bigger picture. If rewards don't reliably drive better performance in complex, creative work, and the science clearly says they don't, then what does? What actually motivates people to excel when there's no roadmap? When the problems are ambiguous, and the answers aren't obvious? To understand this, we need to look beyond the old operating system of work, what we might call Motivation 2.0. That system is based on external control. On managing people through incentives, threats, and rigid structures. It's rooted in an era when work was manual, repetitive, and easy to monitor. You showed up, followed instructions, and got paid. End of story. But that system wasn't built for the world we live in today. The challenges we face now, whether in technology, education, healthcare, design, or entrepreneurship, demand something different. They require people to think deeply, to experiment, to care. And that kind of work isn't driven by the promise of a bonus or the fear of punishment. It's driven by what we call intrinsic motivation, the desire to do something because it matters, because it's interesting, because it's part of a purpose larger than ourselves. So what fuels intrinsic motivation? According to decades of behavioral science, there are 3 core ingredients. Autonomy, the urge to direct our own lives. Mastery, the desire to get better at something that matters. Purpose, the yearning to do what we do in the service of something bigger. Let's start with autonomy, because this alone challenges some of the most deeply ingrained ideas in management today. Most companies, consciously or not, operate on the assumption that if you don't supervise people closely, they'll slack off. That if you give them freedom, they'll take advantage. That control is necessary for productivity. But here's what the research shows. The more autonomy people have, the more engaged they are. The more trusted they feel, the more effort they give. It turns out, treating people like responsible adults encourages them to act like responsible adults. Take the Australian software company Atlassian. A few times a year, they do something radical. They tell their engineers, for the next 24 hours, work on anything you want, as long as it's not part of your regular job. No managers assigning tasks. No deadlines. Just one rule, show what you've built at the end of the day. They call it a FedEx day, because you have to deliver something overnight. Now think about that. One day of pure autonomy. What could that possibly produce? Turns out, a lot. Bug fixes, new features, creative hacks, things that would have never surfaced in the usual grind of assigned tasks. That one day of freedom led to major improvements in the company's products, and in employee engagement. Atlassian didn't stop there. Inspired by the results, they expanded the idea and gave engineers 20% time, one full day each week to work on any project they chose. No approvals needed. No micromanagement. Just trust. Sound familiar? It should. Google adopted the same policy. And some of Google's most iconic products, Gmail, Google Maps, Google News, were born during 20% time. Think about that. Not in a meeting, not in a strategy session, but in free time. Because when people are free to explore, to follow their curiosity, to chase ideas, they do their best work. But let's take it further. Some companies have taken autonomy to a whole new level. Enter the results-only work environment, or RO. Created by two American consultants, RO flips the script entirely. In a RO, employees have no set schedules. They can come in when they want, or not at all. There are no office hours, no mandatory meetings, no micromanagement. The only expectation? Get the work done. How? When? Where? That's up to you. And what happens in companies that implement RO? Productivity goes up. Engagement goes up. Turnover goes down. People feel respected, trusted, and empowered. They no longer feel like cogs in a machine, but like actual contributors with control over their lives. It's not chaos. It's clarity. Because when people are held accountable for results, not time spent in a chair, they step up. Now, let's be honest, this level of autonomy scares a lot of managers. It sounds risky, radical, maybe even utopian. But the evidence says otherwise. We're seeing a shift, a quiet revolution, in how the most forward-thinking organizations operate. And it starts with recognizing that autonomy isn't a perk. It's a necessity for high performance in modern work. Here's a simple truth. Control leads to compliance. Autonomy leads to engagement. And engagement is the secret sauce. Because engaged employees don't just work harder, they think more creatively, solve problems faster, collaborate better, stay longer. So if you're a leader, the question isn't, how do I control my team better? The real question is, how do I create the conditions for autonomy? Can you give your team more say over what they do? When they do it? How they do it? With whom they do it? Every step toward autonomy is a step toward unlocking potential. And the best part? This isn't just about making people feel good. It's about results. Companies that embrace autonomy outperform their peers. They innovate faster. They adapt better. They attract better talent. In a world where change is constant, autonomy isn't a luxury. It's a competitive advantage. So, if you're still managing people with outdated tools, tracking hours, micromanaging tasks, enforcing rigid policies, it's time to rethink. Because the best people don't want to be managed. They want to be led, inspired, trusted. And when you give them that, they'll give you their best. In the next section, we'll dive into the second pillar of intrinsic motivation, mastery. What does it really take to get better at something meaningful? Why do some people keep improving while others plateau? And how can we build cultures where progress matters more than perfection? If autonomy is the foundation, giving people the freedom to choose their path, then mastery is what drives them to walk it. Mastery is the deep human desire to get better at something that matters. It's not about chasing perfection. It's about the relentless, sometimes frustrating, often joyful pursuit of progress, of moving forward, of climbing the mountain not because someone told you to, but because you want to see how far you can go. And when it comes to motivation, mastery is a powerhouse. Think about the last time you lost yourself in something challenging. Maybe it was coding a new feature, solving a tough problem, learning a musical instrument, or writing a story. You weren't doing it for a reward. You weren't chasing a bonus. You were locked in, not just mentally but emotionally. Time faded. Focus sharpened. You were in the zone. That's the essence of mastery. Psychologist Mihai Csikszentmihalyi calls it flow. That state of peak engagement where the challenge is just high enough to keep you on your toes, but not so high that it overwhelms you. It's when your skills meet your task perfectly. Not too easy. Not too hard. Just right. And here's the thing. Flow isn't random. It happens under very specific conditions. And the pursuit of flow, the pursuit of mastery, is what keeps people engaged in their work far more than any paycheck ever could. But let's be clear. Mastery is hard. It's not a straight line. It's not a one-time achievement. It's a mindset. Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck calls it the growth mindset. In her research, she's found that people tend to fall into two categories when it comes to learning and performance. Some have a fixed mindset. They believe their abilities are static. You're either smart or you're not. Talented or you're not. And when things get hard, they give up because failure threatens their identity. Others have a growth mindset. They believe abilities can be developed. They see effort as a path to mastery. They embrace challenges, persist through setbacks, and see failure not as evidence of incompetence, but as an opportunity to improve. And guess what? People with a growth mindset perform better. They learn more. They take on harder challenges. And they're far more likely to achieve mastery in the long run. Now think about how we structure most work environments. How we run schools. How we evaluate performance. Do we reward effort and improvement? Or do we reward outcomes only? Do we create space for experimentation and failure? Or do we penalize people for mistakes? In too many systems, the message is clear. Play it safe. Stick to what you know. Don't take risks. Don't mess up. And that kills mastery. Because mastery lives in the messy middle, where you fall, regroup, learn, and try again. It lives in practice, in persistence, in struggle. Look at world-class athletes, top musicians, master craftsmen. None of them got great by chasing rewards. They got great by chasing growth. It's not that they love practice for its own sake. It's that they see the value in getting better. Every repetition matters. Every attempt builds skill. And they're fueled not by what they'll get, but by who they'll become. So how do we bring mastery into the workplace? It starts with clarity. People need to know what better looks like. They need feedback. Not once a year in a formal review, but frequently, constructively, and specifically. And they need challenges, tasks that stretch their abilities, not just occupy their time. People are bored, they disengage. If they're overwhelmed, they shut down. The sweet spot is that edge of growth where the next step is just out of reach. And they need support, leaders and cultures that see mistakes as learning, not as failure. That encourage questions. That celebrate progress. One company that gets this right is IDEO, the global design and innovation firm. At IDEO, they don't talk about getting it right the first time. They talk about rapid prototyping, testing, failing, iterating. Again and again. Because they know that mastery doesn't come from thinking about the perfect answer. It comes from doing, adjusting, learning. And they build this into their culture. New employees are encouraged to experiment. Ideas are shared openly without fear of being wrong. Feedback is frequent. Improvement is expected. And the result? A workplace where people not only want to be better, they know how to get better. But here's the crucial point. Mastery is a journey, not a destination. You never truly arrive. There's always more to learn, more to refine, more to improve. And when people see that their organization values that journey, when they feel safe to grow, they rise to the occasion. Because ultimately, people don't want to coast. They don't want to stagnate. They want to matter. And progress, real, tangible, meaningful progress, is one of the most powerful sources of motivation there is. So the next time you think about how to motivate a team, ask yourself, are you giving them room to grow? Are you challenging them in ways that develop skill? Are you rewarding learning or just outcomes? Because if you can create a culture of mastery, where improvement is part of the DNA, you'll unlock a level of motivation that's deeper than any incentive plan could ever offer. In the next section, we'll turn to the third and final pillar of intrinsic motivation: purpose. Why do people care? What gives their work meaning? And how can connecting to a larger mission transform not just productivity, but lives? We've talked about autonomy, the freedom to choose. We've talked about mastery, the drive to improve. Now we arrive at the third pillar of intrinsic motivation, and perhaps the most powerful of them all: purpose. Purpose is what gives our actions meaning. It's the reason we care. The thing that makes us show up, not just to earn a paycheck but to make a difference. It's what transforms work from something we have to do into something we want to do. And it's not abstract. It's not philosophical fluff. Purpose is tangible. When people feel that what they're doing matters, that it contributes to something larger than themselves, their performance skyrockets. Let's start with the research. In 2001, psychologists Amy Rozesniewski and Barry Schwartz conducted a fascinating study with hospital custodians. Now, these were not high-prestige jobs. Cleaning hospital floors, hauling trash, sanitizing bathrooms, it's demanding, physical, often thankless work. But what the researchers found was remarkable. Some custodians saw their job as just that, a job. They clocked in, did their tasks, and went home. But others, doing the exact same work, saw it differently. They saw themselves as part of the healing process, as contributors to patients' recovery, as essential to the mission of the hospital. They rearranged furniture so families could visit more comfortably. They adjusted cleaning schedules to avoid disturbing patients. They remembered names, offered kindness, paid attention. And here's the kicker: no one told them to do any of this. It wasn't in their job descriptions. They did it because they felt connected to a larger purpose. This sense of purpose transformed their motivation. They were more engaged, more fulfilled, and their work had a measurable impact on patient satisfaction and team morale. Same job, same environment, totally different outcomes. That's the power of purpose. Now, think about how most organizations communicate with employees. Mission statements on the wall. Annual reports full of buzzwords. Generic slogans like, "We're committed to excellence." None of it means anything unless it connects to people's daily experience. Purpose has to be felt, not just stated. And when it is, the results are dramatic. Let's look at a company example. Consider Patagonia, the outdoor apparel brand. Their mission is crystal clear. We're in business to save our home planet. That's not just branding. It drives every decision they make, from sourcing materials to limiting environmental impact to encouraging customers to repair instead of replace. Employees at Patagonia know they're not just selling jackets. They're fighting climate change. That sense of purpose doesn't just attract customers, it attracts top talent. And it keeps them engaged. The data backs this up. A study by Imperative and New York University found that employees who derive meaning from their work are 3 times more likely to stay with their organization, 1.7 times more satisfied with their job, and 1.4 times more engaged. Another study by Harvard Business Review showed that companies with a strong sense of purpose outperform the market by over 5% annually, a massive margin when compounded over time. So what does it take to create purpose in an organization? It starts with alignment. People need to see how their individual work contributes to something larger. That means leaders need to do more than set targets. They need to tell stories. Stories that connect effort to impact. Stories that turn tasks into meaning. Take Salesforce, the cloud software company. CEO Mark Benioff is well known for integrating purpose into the business. Salesforce was one of the first companies to adopt the 1-1-1 model, donating 1% of equity, 1% of product, and 1% of employee time to charitable causes. Employees are encouraged to volunteer. Causes are embedded into the company's identity. And when people join the company, they're not just starting a job, they're joining a movement. Now contrast that with a company that operates purely on performance metrics. Hit your number, get your bonus. Miss it, face the consequences. Over time, that erodes trust. It creates a culture of short-termism, where people do just enough to survive but never truly thrive. Purpose changes that. When people believe in what they're doing, they go beyond the minimum. They become ambassadors, innovators, leaders. They work harder, not because they have to, but because they want to. And purpose doesn't have to be global. It doesn't have to mean saving the planet or curing disease. It can be as simple as helping a client succeed, making someone's day easier, solving a meaningful problem. The key is authenticity. People can smell fake purpose a mile away. It has to be real. Lived. Reinforced through actions, not just words. Let's bring this back to where we started. Motivation. Autonomy gives people control. Mastery gives them progress. But purpose gives them direction. Without purpose, autonomy is aimless. Mastery is hollow. With purpose, everything clicks. And when all 3 pillars are in place, autonomy, mastery, and purpose, you get something powerful: engagement. Engaged employees are not just more productive. They're healthier, happier, more loyal, less likely to burn out. They fuel innovation, strengthen culture, drive growth. And in a world where disengagement costs companies hundreds of billions each year, that's not just good management. It's a competitive necessity. So, as we close this section, ask yourself, do I know what my purpose is? Do the people I lead know theirs? Are we just working, or are we working for something? In the next section, we're going to tie all of this together. We'll examine the outdated models of motivation still embedded in most workplaces, and explore what it really means to upgrade our operating system from the inside out. The old tools are broken. The new science is clear. Let's talk about building organizations that actually work, for people and performance. Section 6. Now that we've explored the 3 pillars of intrinsic motivation, autonomy, mastery, and purpose, we're faced with an unavoidable question. If the science is so clear, why are so many organizations still stuck in the past? Why do we keep relying on outdated tools, bonuses, rankings, annual reviews, rigid management hierarchies, when we know they don't drive the results we want in a modern, creative, problem-solving economy? The answer is uncomfortable but honest. Institutional inertia. We've inherited a legacy system. A model of work designed for a very different time. To understand how we got here, we have to go back to the roots of modern management, back to the Industrial Revolution, and specifically to a man named Frederick Winslow Taylor ***. Taylor was an engineer in the early 20th century who pioneered what became known as scientific management ***. His core belief was simple: people are primarily economic beings. If you want them to work harder, give them more money. If you want them to follow instructions, design systems that remove all thinking from the job. Taylor broke work down into tasks, measured every motion, timed every action. He believed managers should do all the thinking, and workers should just execute. The result? Unprecedented gains in industrial productivity. And for its time, it worked. In factories, on assembly lines, in any environment where the work was routine, algorithmic, and physical. But here's the problem: we've changed. The economy has changed. The nature of work has changed. Yet our motivational toolkit hasn't. We're still operating with what Dan Pink calls motivation 2.0 ***, a model built on carrots and sticks compliance and external control ***. It assumes people won't do anything unless you dangle a reward or threaten a consequence. But people aren't machines. They're not even horses, motivated solely by the promise of a treat or the fear of a whip. People are complex, adaptive, creative beings. And the tasks we face today, whether in tech, healthcare, education, or design, require engagement not just obedience ***. So what happens when we apply motivation 2.0 to 21st century work? We get disengagement. According to Gallup's global survey, only about 15% of employees worldwide are truly engaged at work. That means a staggering 85% of people are either indifferent or actively disengaged. And it's not just a morale issue. It's a business issue. Disengaged employees cost the global economy trillions in lost productivity, absenteeism, turnover, and missed opportunities. Why? Because they're not connected. Not to their work, their team, or their organization's mission. They're just going through the motions. And ironically, in many companies, the more they try to motivate these employees with bigger bonuses, tighter controls, or forced fun activities, the worse things get. Because the core problem isn't effort, it's alignment. People don't need to be pushed to work hard. They need to be given a reason to care. So how do we fix this? We need a new operating system. One that starts with trust, not control. That emphasizes purpose over profit. That gives people the autonomy to solve problems, the opportunity to pursue mastery, and the clarity to connect their work to something meaningful. But change isn't easy. Many leaders are afraid to give up control. They worry that if they loosen the reins, chaos will follow. That employees will take advantage, slack off, or run in 1,000 directions. But the evidence shows the opposite. When organizations shift to autonomy-based systems, performance improves. When they focus on learning and progress instead of punishment and reward, creativity flourishes. When they center purpose in their culture, retention increases. We've seen this across industries. Netflix famously gives employees tremendous freedom, but holds them to equally high standards. Their culture is built on freedom and responsibility ***. Employees don't need to get permission to make decisions or take time off. But they are expected to act in the best interest of the company at all times. The result? A culture of high performance and innovation. **W/Al Gore and Associates the makers of Gore-Tex, operate without traditional bosses. They use a lattice structure, where employees self-organize around projects and interests. People don't get promoted, they earn followership. And despite this unorthodox model, they've consistently ranked among the most innovative companies in the world. Even Best Buy a big box electronics retailer, experimented with results-only work environment, allowing corporate employees to set their own schedules. The result was a massive increase in productivity and a sharp drop in turnover. But these changes require courage. It's far easier to stick with what we know. To cling to performance reviews, pay-for-performance schemes, and detailed job descriptions. But the organizations that will thrive in the 21st century are the ones willing to rethink, rewire, and reimagine. And let's be clear, this isn't about being soft or idealistic. This is about *** results ***. The organizations that embrace intrinsic motivation are more profitable more innovative and more resilient They attract better talent, retain it longer, and unlock potential that traditional models suppress. Because at the end of the day, people want to work for something not just for someone They want to be trusted, challenged, inspired. And when they are, they don't just comply, they commit. So if you're still managing with carrots and sticks, you're not just behind the times, you're holding your people back. It's time to upgrade. In the next section, we'll go even deeper into the neuroscience of motivation. What actually happens in the brain when people feel autonomy, mastery, and purpose? Why do rewards light up some circuits, but dull others? And how can understanding these mechanisms help us design better teams, better systems, and better lives? Let's decode the biology behind motivation itself. Section 7 If everything we've discussed so far, autonomy, mastery, and purpose, explains what drives people, then the next logical question is, why? Why do these forces work when money doesn't? Why does removing control lead to better performance? Why does finding meaning in your work light a fire that external rewards simply can't ignite? The answer lies in the brain Let's start by talking about what happens neurologically when people experience extrinsic rewards money, prizes, bonuses, and so on. These rewards activate a region of the brain called the nucleus accumbens It's a key player in the dopamine system the part of the brain associated with pleasure, habit formation, and reinforcement. When you offer someone a cash reward, you're triggering that dopamine circuit. They feel a spike of anticipation, a surge of motivation to get the prize. This is the same system activated by gambling, junk food, and social media notifications. It's fast, effective, and short-lived. Because here's the catch, dopamine is a motivation kickstarter not a sustainer. Once the reward is removed, the drive fades. You have to keep offering new rewards to keep the system going. It creates dependence not commitment. Even worse, studies show that over time, larger and more frequent rewards are needed to get the same effect. It's a classic case of diminishing returns. Now compare that to intrinsic motivation. When someone experiences autonomy, mastery, or purpose, the brain lights up in completely different areas, especially the prefrontal cortex, associated with complex decision-making, planning, and long-term thinking. These motivators engage deeper cognitive and emotional systems that sustain attention, boost creativity, and build resilience. Let's break them down. #1. Autonomy and the prefrontal cortex. When people are given control over their choices, the prefrontal cortex becomes more active. This part of the brain is responsible for executive function, the ability to plan, focus, and regulate behavior. Autonomy literally increases neural engagement. People pay more attention, take greater ownership, and think more strategically. That's why micromanagement doesn't just demoralize people, it dulls their brains. It signals that they're not trusted, which reduces engagement, which leads to worse decisions, which invites more control, creating a vicious cycle. #2. Mastery and the striatum. When people make progress toward meaningful goals, the striatum, a region associated with habit formation and reward, is activated. But unlike the dopamine spike from extrinsic rewards, this activation is tied to progress, not payoff. Neuroscientist Teresa Amabel's research at Harvard found that the single biggest motivator at work isn't raises or promotions, it's making progress on meaningful tasks. Small wins release endogenous dopamine, which reinforces the behavior and motivates continued effort. This is the neurological basis for the concept of flow, deep focus and satisfaction from challenging work. #3. Purpose and the default mode network. Purpose engages the default mode network, a set of brain regions that become active during introspection, empathy, and future-oriented thinking. This network connects our actions to our identity and values. It's what allows us to see work not just as a job but as a calling. When people believe their work matters, it activates oxytocin pathways, neurochemicals associated with trust, social bonding, and prosocial behavior. In short, purpose makes people care, and when people care, they commit. This is why even the most well-compensated employee will underperform if they feel their work is meaningless. It's not a problem of pay, it's a problem of neural disengagement. Now let's apply this to real-world scenarios. Consider a software engineer working under a rigid management system. They're told what to do, how to do it, and when it's due. They're offered a quarterly bonus if they hit specific targets. Their dopamine system might fire up at first, but soon as autonomy and meaning drain away, so does their motivation. Their work becomes mechanical. Their brain disengages. Now imagine the same engineer in a different system. They're given freedom to choose projects aligned with their interests. They're encouraged to learn new skills. Their work is connected to a meaningful mission, say building tools that help disaster relief workers communicate faster. Now the prefrontal cortex, striatum, and default mode network are all firing. They're not just working, they're lit up neurologically. And this isn't speculation, it's measurable. Functional MRI studies show increased neural activity in these regions when people report high engagement. Brain scans can literally predict whether someone is feeling intrinsically motivated or not. Even at the cellular level, motivation changes us. Research shows that environments rich in autonomy and meaning can lead to increased neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to form new connections and pathways. In other words, motivated people learn faster and adapt better. And here's the business case. Organizations that harness these principles outperform their competitors. Asterisk, they innovate faster because people feel safe to try new things. Asterisk, they retain talent longer because people feel valued. Asterisk, they adapt more easily because engaged brains are more flexible. So why isn't every organization operating this way? Because neuroscience is slow to filter into management. Business schools still teach outdated models. Managers are promoted based on short-term metrics. Cultures are built around control, not trust. But change is coming. As the science becomes undeniable, forward-thinking organizations are redesigning systems based on how people actually function, not how we wish they did. They're moving away from behaviorism toward humanism. Away from compliance toward engagement. Because the brain doesn't lie. When people feel trusted, challenged, and connected, their brains respond with focus, energy, and creativity. When they feel controlled, ignored, or commodified, the lights dim. This isn't just biology, it's destiny. In the next section, we'll explore how to put all of this into practice. What does it actually look like to build a team or an organization around autonomy, mastery, and purpose? What systems need to change? What rituals reinforce the new model? And how do you start, even if you're just one person on a small team? Let's move from the why to the how. Section 8. Now that we understand the science, why intrinsic motivation works, how it's rooted in the brain, and what the consequences are for people and performance, it's time to ask a harder, more practical question. How do we actually build for it? What does it look like to create a team, an organization, or even a classroom that runs on autonomy, mastery, and purpose, not just on paper but in everyday actions? Let's start with a truth that applies across industries and roles. Systems shape behavior. You can have the best intentions, but if the structures around people are built for compliance, not engagement, the outcome is predictable. People will do just enough to get by. They'll avoid risk. They'll disengage. So the first step in applying these principles is to audit your environment. Strip away the buzzwords. Ignore the motivational posters. And ask, what do the actual systems, routines, and signals in your organization say about what's valued? Because if you say you value innovation but punish every mistake, you don't value innovation. If you say you empower teams but make all the decisions from the top, you're not empowering anyone. Let's break it down by pillar. ### autonomy, from control to choice. To foster autonomy, you need to rethink how decisions are made and who gets to make them. This doesn't mean chaos. It means clarity of purpose but flexibility of process. Here are a few tangible shifts. Replace micromanagement with mission clarity. Instead of telling people exactly what to do, tell them the goal, and let them figure out how to get there. Shift from rigid schedules to flexible time. Remote work, flex hours, or even just letting employees block time for deep work can signal trust. Encourage self-directed projects. Allow space for employees to explore ideas they believe in, even if it's just for a few hours a month. Take the example of Spotify. Their internal structure is based on squads, small autonomous teams with end-to-end responsibility for their part of the product. Each squad decides how they work, what tools they use, and how they ship. Leadership sets direction, not rules. The result? Rapid innovation. Strong ownership and high morale. Hashtag mastery, from performance to progress. Mastery isn't about being perfect, it's about getting better. To cultivate mastery, leaders must create environments where learning is expected, supported, and celebrated. That means real-time feedback, not annual reviews. People can't improve what they don't see. Frequent, constructive feedback is the fuel of growth. Stretch assignments. Give people opportunities just beyond their current skill level. It's the fastest path to development. Deliberate practice. Encourage time for skill building that's not tied to immediate outcomes, learning for its own sake. Failure tolerance. If people are punished for trying something new that doesn't work, they'll stop trying. At Adobe, they replaced traditional performance reviews with check-ins, regular, informal conversations about goals, feedback, and development. This seemingly small change had massive results: greater satisfaction, less turnover, and better performance. Because when people are treated like learners, not cogs, they rise to the challenge. Purpose. From profit to meaning. Purpose isn't something you glue onto the surface of a company. It has to live in every level, from leadership decisions to daily tasks. Here's how to build for it. Tell impact stories. Regularly share how the work is affecting real people. This connects tasks to outcomes. Align roles with strengths. When people use their best skills to serve a cause they care about, motivation surges. Involve people in strategy. Don't just assign goals, ask for input on how the team should pursue them. Ownership creates connection. Celebrate contribution, not just output. Recognize when someone's effort moved the mission forward, even if it wasn't flashy. A great example of this is Etsy, the online marketplace for handmade goods. Employees aren't just writing code or marketing, they're supporting artisans and helping independent creators succeed. That mission permeates every department. It's part of onboarding, team rituals, even company meetings. Now, some leaders ask, what if my company doesn't have a flashy mission? We're not saving the world, we're making software for accountants or selling office supplies. Fair question. But purpose doesn't have to be grand. It has to be genuine. Helping people do better work, reducing stress, solving annoying problems, these are all meaningful. The key is connecting employees to who they help and why it matters. So how do you start? If you're a leader, here's a roadmap. 1. Start with yourself. Do you model autonomy, mastery, and purpose in your own work? People watch what you do more than what you say. 2. Run a motivation audit. Look at your policies, your reward systems, your language. Are they promoting compliance or commitment? 3. Make small experiments. You don't need to overhaul everything overnight. Try one change: a new feedback routine, a project sprint with full autonomy, a team purpose exercise. 4. Listen relentlessly. The best source of insight is your people. What frustrates them? What energizes them? Adjust. Repeat. And if you're not a leader, if you're one person on a small team, you're not powerless. You can start by owning your own experience. Ask for more responsibility in areas you care about. Set personal growth goals and track your progress. Start conversations about purpose. Ask your teammates, why does our work matter? Be the person who models curiosity, initiative, and generosity. Because culture is not what leaders write on walls, it's what people do every day. And the shift toward intrinsic motivation isn't a top-down mandate. It's a grassroots movement. Every person who chooses engagement over compliance is moving the system forward. In the next section, we'll explore one of the most critical frontiers for applying these ideas: education. If our schools still run on carrots and sticks, grades, punishments, rigid curricula, what does that mean for the next generation? And what would it look like to build learning environments that ignite real curiosity and lifelong motivation? Let's talk about how we raise, teach, and prepare people, not just to pass tests but to thrive. Section 9. If intrinsic motivation is so essential for creativity, innovation, and deep engagement, then there's one area of society where this conversation becomes especially urgent: education. Because here's the uncomfortable truth: while our economy and workplaces are slowly starting to evolve, our schools are still stuck in the past. Across much of the world, the education system is still modeled on the industrial era. Think about the structure. Bells that signal movement from one task to another, fixed curricula, standard tests, rows of desks, a central authority figure at the front of the room, and a heavy reliance on extrinsic motivators: grades, gold stars, demerits, honor rolls, detention. It's a system built not to foster curiosity, but to train compliance. This model might have made sense when the goal was to produce factory workers. People who could follow instructions, work a predictable job, and do it efficiently. But that world is gone. The jobs of the future, and even the present, require people who can think critically, solve new problems, collaborate across disciplines, and keep learning for life. And yet, we still grade students as if their only job is to memorize facts and regurgitate them. We reward the ability to game a system, not question it. We punish mistakes instead of seeing them as stepping stones to growth. So it should come as no surprise that many students are disengaged. According to the Gallup student poll, by high school, only about 1 in 3 students reports being actively engaged in school. That number drops even lower in many countries. The further students progress in school, the less curious, less interested, and less invested they become. Why? Because they're being taught what to learn, not how or why. And the tools we use to motivate them, grades, rankings, praise for good behavior, are exactly the kinds of extrinsic rewards that undermine the very curiosity and resilience we want them to develop. Let's go back to the science. In one landmark study, researchers gave preschoolers a new set of drawing materials. Some kids were told they'd get a reward for drawing. Others weren't promised anything. And a third group was surprised with a reward afterward. The results? The kids who were promised a reward ended up drawing less creatively and for less time. The joy of drawing had been replaced by the desire for the prize. Meanwhile, the kids who were surprised with a reward or weren't rewarded at all kept exploring, kept imagining, kept engaging. This is the danger of if-then systems. They can crush intrinsic interest. Now apply that to a classroom. A student who once loved reading starts aiming for points instead of pages. A curious mind is told to stick to the rubric. A creative idea is rejected because that's not how we're supposed to do it. Over time, students stop asking questions. They wait for instructions. They learn how to pass the test, but not how to learn. So what's the alternative? How do we design learning environments that foster autonomy, mastery, and purpose ***, the same drivers that fuel engagement in the workplace? Let's start with ***, autonomy ***. Autonomy in education doesn't mean students do whatever they want. It means giving them ***, meaningful choices ***. What book to read? What question to explore? What format to present their learning in? When students have a say in their learning, they take ownership. They become more invested, more creative, more motivated. One successful model is the Genius Hour, popularized by Google's 20% time. In many classrooms, teachers set aside an hour a week for students to work on any project they choose, as long as it involves research and learning. The results? Skyrocketing engagement. Students delve into everything from building apps to writing novels to solving local problems. Then there's ***, mastery ***. Too often, we treat grades as final judgments, A or B, pass or fail. But mastery-based learning focuses on ***, growth ***. Students advance when they've demonstrated understanding, not when the calendar says it's time. This approach requires flexibility. It means offering *** feedback instead of finality ***. It means letting students revise, improve, and try again. It means valuing effort and progress over speed. Schools that adopt mastery-based models, like Summit Public Schools in the US, show that students can learn more deeply and retain knowledge longer when they're allowed to master concepts at their own pace. And then there's ***, purpose ***. Students need to know why their learning matters. Not just for the test. Not just for college. But for life ***. This is where ***, real-world learning *** comes in, connecting curriculum to meaningful problems. Letting students work on community issues, create solutions, share their work beyond the classroom. Purpose can also come from reflection, encouraging students to explore their values, their interests, their goals. When learning is personal, it becomes powerful. Look at High Tech High in San Diego, a project-based school where students design everything from robots to documentaries. Their work is often displayed in public exhibitions, not just graded and returned. That's purpose. That's ownership. But let's be clear, this kind of education isn't about lowering standards or abandoning structure. It's about ***, raising expectations ***, not just for what students know, but for how they think, how they grow, and how they engage. It's about trusting that students, like adults, want to learn when the conditions are right. When they feel seen. When they have voice. When their work matters. And yes, there are barriers, standardized testing, policy mandates, resource gaps. But change is happening. More teachers are experimenting with student-centered models. More schools are embracing project-based learning. More parents and policymakers are questioning the old assumptions. Because the stakes are too high to keep doing what we've always done. The world our kids will enter is not predictable. It's not slow. It's not structured around compliance. It's fast, complex, adaptive. And if we want our students to thrive, we have to build systems that develop not just knowledge, but motivation. Not just answers, but curiosity. Not just performance, but purpose. In the final section, we'll bring it all together. We'll revisit the core insights from this entire journey, across work, science, and education, and ask the most important question of all. Now that we know the truth about motivation, what will we do with it? Let's finish strong. Section 10 So here we are, the final stretch. We've unpacked the science, dissected the myths, examined the systems. We've explored how autonomy mastery and purpose aren't just abstract ideals but concrete, measurable, and deeply human forces that drive our best performance. We've seen how extrinsic motivators, bonuses, grades, gold stars, rankings, often do more harm than good when applied to complex, creative, and meaningful tasks. And we've asked hard questions about how we work, how we lead, how we learn, and how we live. So now comes the hardest question of all. What now? Because here's the thing, understanding is not enough. The data is clear. The stories are powerful. The examples are real. But unless we act, unless we start applying what we know, we'll stay stuck in a system that no longer fits the world we live in. Let's recap the core truths we've uncovered. 1. Extrinsic rewards The old carrot and stick model only work reliably for simple, rule-based tasks. When the job requires focus, repetition, or speed, bonuses and punishments can be effective. But when the task demands creativity, problem-solving, or learning those same rewards often backfire. They narrow our focus. They crush curiosity. They diminish performance. 2. Autonomy The desire to direct our own lives is not a luxury. It's a necessity. People do their best work when they have the freedom to make decisions, solve problems their way, and take ownership of their time and effort. 3. Mastery The drive to get better at something that matters is deeply motivating. It thrives in environments that encourage learning, value progress, and treat mistakes as part of growth, not as failures to be punished. 4. Purpose The need to contribute to something larger than ourselves is what makes work meaningful. When people see how their efforts connect to a bigger picture, they bring more energy, more creativity, and more resilience to what they do. And these aren't just individual truths. They apply at every level. In the workplace where leaders can redesign systems around trust, flexibility, and meaning instead of control and compliance. In education where teachers can ignite curiosity instead of stifling it with grades and rigid standards. In teams and communities where shared purpose fuels deeper collaboration. And in ourselves where understanding what truly motivates us can lead to better choices, better habits, and better lives. But change isn't automatic. Old habits are hard to break. Many of our institutions are built on assumptions that no longer hold. So what will it take? Let's talk action. If you're a leader it starts with a mindset shift. From control to enablement. From measuring hours to measuring impact. From managing by fear or force to leading with trust and clarity. You don't need to roll out a massive overhaul on day one. You just need to begin. Start with one team. Replace one policy that undermines autonomy with one that enables it. Create one ritual that celebrates mastery, not just results. Share one story that connects the work to a real-world purpose. And then watch what happens. If you're a teacher or educator reimagine what success looks like. Create space for student choice. Shift from a grading culture to a feedback culture. Connect lessons to life, not just the test. Model learning. Model curiosity. Model resilience. Because students don't just learn from what we teach, they learn from **** how we teach ****. If you're a **** parent ****, move away from behavior charts and reward charts. Focus on helping your children find **** their why ***. Encourage effort. Celebrate progress. Ask them what they're curious about, what they care about, what kind of problems they want to solve in the world. Help them build internal motivation, because that's what will carry them through the challenges of adulthood, long after the stickers and trophies stop coming. And if you're just one person, no formal authority, no big platform, remember this. Culture is contagious. Every time you take ownership instead of waiting for instructions. Every time you mentor someone, give helpful feedback, or share what you've learned. Every time you speak up for purpose over profit, for learning over perfection, for trust over micromanagement, you're nudging the system forward. Because movements don't start from the top. They start with people who care. People who are tired of doing things the old way. People who know that deeper motivation leads to better outcomes. People who understand that the best work comes not from pressure, but from meaning. Now let's end where we began. There's a puzzle of motivation. And for too long we've tried to solve it using tools that don't fit. We've mistaken control for leadership, compliance for engagement, rewards for meaning. But the real solution has been with us all along. It's in our nature to want to improve, to contribute, to grow, to matter. It's time to stop ignoring the science and start building systems that honor what it tells us. Not just because it feels better, not just because it's more human, but because it works. The companies that embrace this will outpace their competitors. The schools that embrace this will raise a generation of lifelong learners. The individuals who embrace this will find more fulfillment, more energy, and more impact in everything they do. So the next time you're trying to motivate someone, your team, your child, yourself, don't reach for the carrot or the stick. Reach for autonomy. Reach for mastery. Reach for purpose. That's where the real power lies. If this journey inspired you, if it made you think differently about your work, your learning, your leadership, then pass it on. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. Start the conversation. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel for more deep dives like this. Because we're just getting started. Let's build a world that works, not because we're forced to, but because we're motivated to. Thank you for being part of this. And now, go do something that matters.